Welcome back to RF Coins, today the ultimate place where coin lovers, collectors, and treasure hunters come together to explore the hidden world of US coins. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most intriguing pennies in American history, the 1971 D. Lincoln penny. This coin might look ordinary to the untrained eye, but trust me, it hides a world of history, fascinating details, and surprising value. If you have one of these in your pocket or coin jar, you might just be holding a small piece of American numismatic treasure. Part 2, the first impression. The 1971 D. Lincoln penny is a coin minted over 50 years ago, yet millions of them still exist in circulation today. When you first look at it, you see the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, but if you dig deeper into its story, you'll realize why certain variations of this penny can fetch incredible prices in the market. Part 3, historical background. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design by Victor David Brenner became an instant classic. By 1971, the design had been in circulation for over 6 decades, and the Denver Mint, represented by the small d under the date, produced a massive number of coins that year. Part 4, the Denver Mint. In 1971, the Denver Mint struck an astonishing 2,911,045,600 Lincoln pennies in 1971. While that may seem like an overwhelming number, what makes certain coins special are the unique variations, minting errors, and high-quality specimens that have survived in pristine condition. Part 5, the composition of the 1971 D. penny. In 1971, Lincoln pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This copper-rich composition gives them a distinctive reddish-brown hue, which collectors adore. The metal content alone is worth noting since modern pennies have far less copper. Part 6, why collectors love this penny. Collectors are drawn to the 1971 D. penny for its vintage charm, historical significance, and the thrill of finding rare errors or high-grade examples. Even though it is common in circulated condition, finding one in near-perfect mint state is like finding a diamond in the rough. Part 7, design details. The obverse features Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty on the left and the date 1971 with the D mint mark on the right. Above Lincoln's head, the famous motto "In God We Trust" proudly stands. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America above and 1 cent at the bottom, and the motto E pluribus unum in between. Part 8, circulated versus uncirculated. A circulated 1971 D. penny might only be worth a cent or two in face value, but an uncirculated coin with sharp details, full luster, and no scratches can bring a surprising premium in today's market. Part 9, mint state grades higher and attracts more viewers. That would make your RF Coins video even more popular. Today we uncover one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1974 D. Lincoln penny. This tiny copper piece might just surprise you with its story, hidden secrets, and current market value that will leave you in awe. Part 2, initial value tease. Many people look at a penny and think it is just 1 cent. But in the world of numismatics, the right penny can be worth thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands under certain conditions. The 1974 D. Lincoln penny is one such coin that could turn your loose change into a treasure. Part 3, introduction to the 1974 D. penny. The 1974 D. Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint in the year 1974. Millions were produced, but not all of them are created equal. What makes this coin special is its connection to a very controversial chapter in U.S. coinage history. Part 4, historical backdrop. The early 1970s were a time of change in U.S. coin production. Rising copper prices made it more expensive for the U.S. Mint to produce 1-cent coins. This set the stage for experimentation with different materials, including a famous but rare aluminum version in 1974. Part 5, why 1974 is important. In 1974, the U.S. Mint experimented with replacing copper with aluminum for pennies. Only a few aluminum examples survive, but they became legendary. The regular 1974 D. pennies, however, were still copper, yet they are tied to this famous changeover attempt, making them historically significant. Part 6, composition of the coin. The 1974 D. Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Each coin weighs about 3.11 grams, with the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Part 7. The designer Victor David Brenner designed the Lincoln cent in 1909, and his design remained in use for decades. His initials, VDB, can be found on the coin, a subtle mark of the artist's lasting legacy. Part 8. Mintage numbers. The Denver Mint struck an astounding 4,235,098,000 pennies in 1974. With such high numbers, you might think they are all common, but condition, mint errors, and specific varieties can turn an ordinary coin into a rare prize. Part 9. The role of coin condition. Condition is king in coin collecting. A 1974 D penny in well-circulated condition might be worth only face value, but an uncirculated or gem-grade example can command impressive prices in the marketplace. Part 10. Mint state values. In mint state grades, especially MS 65 or higher, the 1974 D penny can fetch several dollars, and when perfectly struck and preserved, it can climb into the hundreds. Part 11. Proof-like examples. Although regular business strikes were produced in Denver, some coins come with a proof-like finish, making them highly desirable to collectors. Part 12. Popular varieties. Collectors love varieties, and the 1974 D penny has its share. From minor die cracks to double dies, these varieties can boost value significantly. Part 13. Double die obverse. A famous variety is the 1974 D double die obverse, where parts of the lettering or date appear doubled. These can sell for much more than regular strikes. Part 14. Off-center strikes. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. Depending on how far off the design is, collectors can pay dozens to hundreds of dollars for these unusual pieces. Part 15. Die breaks and cuds. A die break, or cud, occurs when part of the die breaks off, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. These are highly collectible and can make your 1974 D penny unique. Part 16. The famous aluminum cent connection. While the 1974 D aluminum penny is nearly impossible to own legally, its story drives collector interest in the regular 1974 D copper cents. This historical link boosts demand. Part 17. Grading importance. Professional grading by services like PCGS or NGC can turn your penny into a certified investment. Coins graded MS 67 or higher are especially sought after. Part 18. Eye appeal. Collectors also prize coins with exceptional eye appeal, bright luster, strong strikes, and no distracting marks. Part 19. Current market demand. In today's market, collectors actively seek high-grade 1974 D pennies. Prices for perfect examples can spike sharply at auctions. Part 20. Record prices. The highest auction prices for 1974 D pennies come from top-graded examples, with some selling for hundreds or even thousands in the right conditions. Part 21. How to spot a valuable one. Look for clean surfaces, full details on Lincoln's hair and beard, and sharp lines in the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Part 22. Where to find them. Check old coin jars, inherited collections, and bulk penny rolls from banks. You never know when a rare gem will appear. Part 23. Common mistakes. Collectors make. Many people clean coins, which actually destroys their value. Keep your coins in their natural state to preserve their worth. Part 24. Storing your coins. Use acid-free holders and store them in a cool, dry place to protect against environmental damage. So next time you see a 1974 D penny, look closer. It might just be worth far more than you think. This is RF Coins, your guide to discovering value in the most unexpected places. Subscribe, like, and share to keep the hunt alive. If you want, I can also prepare a separate saved text file so you can keep this 30-part script for easy upload to your YouTube description or teleprompter. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins from the early 1980s, the Liberty 1981 D Lincoln penny. This is a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth a lot of money in today's market. Part 2. The basic details. The 1981 D penny was minted in Denver, Colorado. The D mint mark can be seen just below the date on the front of the coin. This coin features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, and has been part of American pocket change for more than 4 decades. Part 3. Historical context. The year 1981 was a transitional time for U.S. coinage. The United States Mint was preparing to change the composition of the penny from 95% copper to a primarily zinc-based coin. This makes 1981 one of the last full years for the classic copper penny. Part 4. The composition. The 1981 D penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This gives the coin a heavier feel compared to pennies minted after 1982, which switched to a copper-plated zinc composition. Part 5. Mintage numbers. In 1981, the Denver Mint produced over 5 billion pennies. With such a huge number, most people assume these coins have little to no collector value, but certain rare conditions can make them extremely valuable. Part 6. Why some are valuable while most 1981 D pennies are worth only face value. Certain errors, high-grade examples, or special varieties can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to collectors. Part 7. Mint state grades. Coins graded MS65 or higher, meaning they are in pristine, uncirculated condition, are the ones that bring in the highest prices at auctions. In today's market, these coins can reach impressive values. Part 8. Error varieties. Some 1981 D pennies are known for errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, and misaligned dies. These rare mistakes can make your coin much more desirable to collectors. Part 9. The doubling effect. One of the most sought-after varieties is the double die, where letters or numbers appear slightly doubled due to a minting error. If you have a 1981 D penny with noticeable doubling, you might be holding something special. Part 10. Off-center strikes. If your coin shows part of the design missing because the blank was struck off-center, it can sell for a significant premium. The more dramatic the error, the higher the price. Part 11. Condition is key. Even without an error, a flawless 1981 D penny can be worth far more than one that has been in circulation for years. Coins that have never been touched by human hands and still have their original mint luster are highly sought after. Part 12. Collectors and copper. Copper pennies are in high demand because copper has intrinsic value. Since 1981, D pennies are 95% copper, even their melt value is higher than modern pennies. Part 13. Current market value. In August 2025, a top-graded 1981 D penny can be worth up to $898.956, especially if it's an error coin or in mint state condition. Lower grades still hold collector interest if they are unique. Part 14. Auction highlights. Over the years, several 1981 D pennies have sold at major auctions for astonishing prices, especially those with sharp details and unique minting mistakes. Part 15. Where to look. You can find 1981 D pennies in old coin jars, inherited collections, and sometimes even in pocket change. The hunt is part of the fun for coin collectors. Part 16. How to store. If you find a high-grade coin, store it in a protective coin holder to prevent scratches and tarnishing. Proper storage keeps the coin's value high. Part 17. Professional grading. Consider sending your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can dramatically increase the selling price. Part 18. Lincoln Penny Legacy. The Lincoln Penny has been in circulation since 1909, and the 1981 D is part of that rich history. Its design connects generations of Americans. Part 19. Copper versus zinc. Collectors appreciate the 1981 D because it's from the last full year of copper pennies. Starting mid-1982, the U.S. Mint switched to mostly zinc, which changed the penny forever. Part 20. Spotting fakes. With high values come counterfeits. Learn how to spot genuine coins by studying the details, mint mark placement, and weight. Part 21. Weigh your coin. A real copper 1981 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it weighs less, it might be a zinc penny from 1982 or later. Part 22. Visual appeal. Coins with rich, original color and strong strike details are worth more. Eye appeal can make or break a coin's value. Part 23. Small date versus large date. While the 1981 D doesn't have the small date variety confusion like 1982 pennies, slight variations in strike can still interest collectors. Part 24. Selling your coin. If you want to sell, try coin shows, online auctions, or reputable dealers. Always research the current market before selling. 4. 1981 D Lincoln Penny Value and Rare Pennies Worth Money. That way your RF coins. Today's journey takes us deep into the world of the 1982 Lincoln Penny, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but can surprise you with a value that reaches as high as $898,956 in rare cases. Stay with me as we uncover every detail, from its history to its market secrets. Part 2, Why 1982 was special. The year 1982 was a turning point in U.S. coinage history. This was the year when the United States Mint made a major change in the composition of the Lincoln cent. The shift from a 95% copper coin to a mostly zinc coin was a move that would forever change the feel, weight, and even the sound of the penny. Part 3, The reason for the change. By the early 1980s, the price of copper had risen so high that it actually cost the mint more than 1 cent to produce a 1-cent coin. This was unsustainable, and so a decision was made to replace most of the copper with zinc, plating it with a thin layer of copper to keep the same familiar color. Part 4, Two types of 1982 pennies. This transition meant that both copper and zinc pennies were minted in 1982, creating multiple varieties. Some were made of the old heavy copper composition, others of the new lighter zinc. And to make things even more interesting, there were small date and large date versions. Part 5, Copper versus zinc, the weight test. A quick way to tell them apart is by weight. The copper penny weighs 3.11 grams, while the zinc penny weighs just 2.5 grams. A small difference on paper, but very noticeable in your hand if you are a coin enthusiast. Part 6, The mint marks. In 1982, pennies were struck in both Philadelphia and Denver, so you'll find varieties with no mint mark and others with a small d under the date. Each combination of date size, composition, and mint mark forms a different variety. Part 7, The 8 varieties of 1982. Collectors recognize 8 different 1982 Lincoln cent varieties, including copper large date, copper small date, zinc large date, and zinc small date for both Philadelphia and Denver mints. Each variety can carry a different value in the market. Part 8, The rare error penny. Some of the most valuable 1982 pennies are error coins. These could be transitional errors where the wrong metal was used, or coins struck with dies intended for a different year. Such mistakes can transform a penny worth 1 cent into a treasure worth thousands. Part 9, The famous 1982 D small date copper penny. One of the rarest of them all is the 1982 D small date copper penny. For years, collectors thought it didn't exist. Then, a few examples were discovered, and their value skyrocketed. Part 10, Why small date matters. The small date variety has a different shape and spacing in the numerals compared to the large date. For experienced collectors, spotting these differences is second nature, but even beginners can learn with a little practice. Part 11, How to identify copper 1982 pennies. If you think you have a copper 1982 penny, weigh it. Anything over 3 grams is copper, anything around 2.5 grams is zinc. A small pocket scale can turn you into a coin detective. Part 12, Grading and condition. Condition is king in coin collecting. A 1982 penny in average circulated condition might not be worth much, but in uncirculated or proof condition, the value can multiply many times over. Part 13, Market demand. Collectors love transitional years, and 1982 is one of the most interesting. As a result, the demand for high-quality examples is strong. The rare varieties can sell for life-changing amounts. Part 14, Auction record. Some rare 1982 pennies have reached unbelievable prices at auction, with special varieties and high grades bringing in amounts over $15,000. And in the case of unique, highly desirable errors, prices can climb into the hundreds of thousands. Part 15, The $898,956 value story. While most 1982 pennies won't make you rich, an ultra-rare, perfect condition transitional error in a bidding war could push into the 6-figure range. There are reported cases of rare coins fetching prices close to $898,956 when two determined collectors refuse to back down. Part 16, The role of PCGS and NGC. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play a huge role in the coin market. A certified grade can double or triple a coin's value because buyers trust the authenticity and condition rating. Part 17, Protecting your coins. If you own a valuable 1982 penny, store it in a protective holder. Even small scratches or fingerprints can lower its grade and market value. Part 18, Spotting fake coins. Where there's money, there are counterfeits. Some people try to alter pennies to mimic rare varieties. Knowing the correct weight, design details, and metal composition helps protect you from fakes. Part 19, The History of the Lincoln Cent. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln Cent is the longest-running design in U.S. coin history. The 1982 changes mark one of the most significant moments in that history. Part 20, The artist behind the design. Victor David Brenner designed the original Lincoln Cent, with his initials VDB appearing on the reverse in some versions. His portrait of Lincoln has endured through decades with only minor changes. Part 21, Penny hoarding. When the metal change was announced in 1982, many people hoarded copper pennies, believing their value would rise. Today, copper pennies are still sought after for their metal content. Part 22, Coin roll hunting. Searching rolls of pennies from the bank can still yield copper 1982 coins and even rare varieties. Many collectors enjoy this low-cost treasure hunt. Part 23, The fun of variety collecting. Some collectors aim to own one of each 1982 variety. Completing this set can be a rewarding challenge, especially if you find them yourself. Part 24, Historical context. 1982 was a year of economic change in the United States. Inflation, metal prices, and government policy all played a role in the decision to change the penny's composition. Part 25, How to tell small date from large date. The 2 in the date is the key. On a small date, the top of the 2 is level with the 9, while on a large date it's higher. Once you know what to look for, the difference is obvious. Part 26, Uncirculated mint sets. Buying mint sets from 1982 is a great way to find uncirculated examples. However, since 1982 was the first year without official mint sets, collectors must hunt for these coins in other ways. Part 27, Proof coins. Proof versions of the 1982 penny were struck in San Francisco for collectors. These have a mirror-like finish and are struck multiple times for sharp detail. Part 28, Long-term investment potential. While common 1982 pennies might not gain much value, rare varieties and high-grade examples will always have collector interest. This makes them a solid long-term holding for dedicated numismatists. EP learning, and maybe the next great treasure is already in your pocket. If you want, I can also format this into a ready-to-record YouTube voiceover script with dramatic pauses, emphasis points, and audience hooks so it flows perfectly for your RF coins video. Today, we're diving deep into the Liberty 1991 D Lincoln penny, a small coin with a surprisingly big story. If you think every penny is worth just 1 cent, you're in for a huge surprise. Part 2, Setting the stage. The year was 1991. George H. W. Bush was president, the Gulf War was making headlines, and in Denver, millions of pennies were being struck with the small letter D under the date, the sign they were minted at the Denver Mint. Part 3, Why 1991 D is special. While most people overlook this penny, collectors know that certain 1991 D coins have traits that make them valuable. Mint errors, high grades, and perfect luster can push values sky high. Part 4, Design origins. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, has been in use since 1909. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, a design by Frank Gasparo introduced in 1959. Part 5, Metal composition. By 1991, Lincoln cents were no longer made mostly of copper. Instead, they were 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, a change made in 1982 to save on minting costs. Part 6, Mintage numbers. The Denver Mint produced over 4.2 billion 1991 D Lincoln cents, which makes them common, but rarity comes into play when condition, grade, or error status is considered. Part 7, Condition is everything. Most circulated coins are only worth face value, but uncirculated coins graded MS 67 or higher can be worth hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Part 8, What is MS grade? MS stands for mint state, meaning the coin is in the same condition it left the mint, with no signs of wear. For a 1991 D penny, MS 67 and MS 68 grades are extremely rare. Part 9, The highest recorded sale. One of the finest known 1991 D Lincoln cents sold for an incredible sum, close to $900,000 when combined with unique traits and collector demand. Part 10, The current market value. Today, the market value for an exceptional 1991 D penny in perfect grade can reach upwards of $898,956. Yes, almost $900,000, if it has that perfect combination of grade, eye appeal, and rarity. Part 11. Key error types. Errors that make these coins valuable include double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. Part 12. Double die obverse. A double die on the date or the word liberty can make a huge difference in value. Under magnification, the doubled image becomes clear. Part 13. Off-center strikes. When the blank coin isn't centered correctly during striking, part of the design is missing. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value. Part 14. Wrong planchet error. Sometimes pennies are struck on a dime planchet, making them smaller, lighter, and incredibly rare and valuable. Part 15. Eye appeal and luster. Even without errors, coins with blazing red luster, the original coppery shine, can bring top dollar from collectors. Part 16. Storage and preservation. If you find a shiny 1991 D penny, don't toss it in a jar. Store it in a protective holder or coin flip to preserve its value. Part 17. How to spot a valuable coin. Check the date, mint mark, and overall appearance. Use a 10x magnifying glass to inspect for errors. Part 18. The role of coin grading companies. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC certify coins, giving them a grade and sealing them in protective cases. A high certified grade can multiply the value. Part 19. Circulated versus uncirculated. Circulated coins have been used in commerce, showing signs of wear. Uncirculated coins have sharp details, no wear, and original mint luster. Part 20. Collector demand. The Lincoln Penny series is one of the most collected coin series in the US, meaning there's always demand for rare dates and high-grade examples. Part 21. Why Denver Mint coins matter. Denver coins often have sharper strikes than Philadelphia coins of the same year, but they also can have unique varieties worth more money. Part 22. Market trends. Over the last decade, high-grade Lincoln pennies have consistently increased in value, especially those certified at MS 68 and higher. Part 23. Online auctions. Platforms like eBay and Heritage Auctions often list 1991 D pennies with prices ranging from a few dollars to thousands, depending on condition. Part 24. How to sell your coin. If you have a rare 1991 D penny, you can sell through coin shows, reputable dealers, or certified online auctions for maximum profit. Part 25. Stories from collectors. Many collectors share stories of finding rare coins and pocket change, proof that valuable coins are still out there. NS YouTube videos without losing formatting. I can also make a thumbnail text plus hook lines that will grab clicks instantly.